Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chair Yoga. If you're watching this on YouTube, I ask you to please subscribe to my channel, maybe write a comment or give me a thumbs up if you feel the urge. Those things help me in establishing my presence, I guess, on this YouTube channel. So thanks for your help with that. You know what? Today I'm going to rely on that concept of Om Namo Gurudev Namo. That's the Sanskrit chant that is telling us, we are open to the universe, to God, to the power that is greater than us, and we open to and we bow to and honor the teacher within and how life is our teacher. So to this teacher within, we're going to really rely on today, not so much of my words and my take on things, but more or less just bringing us into the body and into our own center and listening to the body as our wise guide. So we're going to start in that seated position and I'll join you. I'm not sure what to do with the block just now. So for me, I'm just going to keep it handy and just begin by sitting squarely on the chair, feeling that like I'm balanced in my sitting. So I want to find that balance right to left. Sit bones are a good reference for that. So finding a balance in the pelvis, right to left, front to back, that is access to the tailbone and access to the pubic bone. It's kind of the map of the pelvic floor. So just finding that balance, right to left, front to back, and feeling that you're really grounded and properly supported in your seated position. Let's close the eyes down and turn our palms up just as a way to now bring ourselves into kind of a purposeful transition from the activities that we've had so far thus far today and into our quieting of the mind, settling of the body, bringing us to the present moment here and now. Because that takes efforting, that takes some choice, some purposefulness to realize that we operate so far outside of our body, outside of our present experience most of the time. We're getting ready for the thing we're going to do. We're remembering the thing that just happened. We're just outside of the present moment most of the time. I'm just going to venture to say. So bringing us into this transition time is nothing more complicated than bringing us into this present moment. I want you to feel your feet to the ground, feel your feet to the floor, and just kind of think about that as a grounding or a connecting to the earth. And that you don't have to press so much that it feels off-putting and not natural, but it just feels connected. And that you can feel it in your body. And even up into, you sort of start tracing the connection of the sole of your foot. And all of a sudden you can feel the bones of your feet differently. Your ankles feel more prominent. You can feel them. You notice your ankles. You could bring that same kind of awareness and experience into the shins and calves and up into the knees and into your thighs. And finally, you arrive at your pelvis where you're sitting, and you can feel that as a source of stability and grounding. And if you haven't done so already, let's begin noticing the breath, breathing in and breathing out. And that you might even say that, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. This is just a way of training the mind. It's no more complicated than that. Got to give your mind something to do. Okay, breathe in, breathe out. Settling into the present moment, breathe in, breathe out. And then it starts to simmer down. It doesn't feel so awkward. The breathing in and the breathing out is a natural rhythm within you. Let's soften the jaw and the mouth, relax the tongue, facial muscles. And take this moment, maybe palms are open on your lap. Maybe you like a different mudra. You could bring your hands to the prayer position, whatever. And then claiming for yourself by self-inquiry, what do I want? How do I want to feel? Is a good start. What have I been noticing the past several days? Noticing about myself that I can bring to yoga today. Let's stay with this quieting as you bring your awareness to the breath, and it starts at the floor of the pelvis. So you're starting your inhale there and inhaling up using your imagination and your attention to bring that breath up to the crown of the head. Exhale it back down the same pathway. So find a point-to-point reference of breathing. And notice what your natural rhythm is. Are you breathing in and out through your nose? Do you use your mouth for breathing sometimes? Just noticing, there's no judgment about it. You're just getting curious. Feet to the ground. Feeling the stability of your lower body. And it gives you permission and support to lift up through the rib cage, lift up through your chest cavity. So you can start to feel taller. You're sitting taller. Lengthening through the spine all the way to the crown of the head. Maybe that matches up with your breath. As you inhale and you draw that breath up through the spine, you feel yourself lift along with that. When you exhale, keep yourself strong and tall as you let that exhale just seep back into the pelvis. Let's give it 2 more full breath cycles like that. Really feeling the rhythm of our own breath and how it helps us to lift and lengthen and move our energy. There's a shift in how you feel energetically. Let's open the eyes now, get used to the light. And we're going to sync up the breath, bringing your arms up and overhead, inhaling here through the nose. Let's exhale here as we bow into the heart. Inhale again through the nose. Exhale through the mouth as you just extend that energy all around your room. It's like you're filling the space around you with this positive, peaceful, purposeful energy. Let's do some shoulder rolls now. Let's get those, we're going to start to work on the joints, loosening up. Engage the belly. You want to feel strong with the core engagement. So just come into the awareness of your belly button region, the navel. Pull in and up. In and up. That way we kind of engage the perineum, that's the floor of the pelvis, at the same time by pulling up. So stay with your shoulder roll going in the same direction. Keep your arms real close to your body. I always use my chair to help me. I'm touching the chair. That's how I just make sure I'm keeping my arms real close. So then it really keeps the shoulder roll, the movement in the shoulders very specific. Let's try individual movements of the shoulder. We're going to still go the same direction, but now it's just individual movements. It takes a little more coordinated effort, just a little more coordination. It's a mind-body connection. This is kind of, again, we're trying to keep our mind occupied with the movement and the experience we're in. Let's shrug and release. Shrug and release. And one more time, shrug and hold, really squeeze it tight, hold and release. And now we're going to do the shoulder rolls going the other way. It's like you're separating the shoulder blades. Before we were drawing the shoulder blades toward the spine. Now we're kind of pulling them away from the spine. Takes a little different movement of the arms, doesn't it? Just to come the other way. Again, making sure your belly feels engaged, you feel strong and stabilized by the lower body. Individually now, same thing. A little more coordinated effort. Feel where your breath is. Sometimes we lose track. It just starts to become a background, and we want it to be in the foreground. It's your feel letting your breath be just as much a part of the movement as your shoulders moving. Beautiful. Let's shrug and release. Shrug and release. And one more shrug and hold. Really squeeze it. Squeeze. Big breath in and hold the breath. Hold the squeeze and release it all. And then just notice that, how that you can just almost feel the physical relief, just this whew. All right, let's frame our head. I want you to bring your arms up, get a hold of those elbows, get your head inside of there. And I'm going to turn to the side a little bit so you know the little bit of difference I'm going to work on with us today. And that is pulling back. So it feels like you're opening up through the armpits. You're allowing the armpits to kind of deepen and pull in and back. So just bring awareness to the armpits. You're lifting up. Keep your head, let your head be as it wants to be. So you're not trying to force anything out of your neck. You're just moving into the shoulder blades by way of your armpits. And you can do that by pulling your arms back and waiting and allowing. But the intention here is to feel spaciousness in the whole region of all the muscles that support your shoulders that are located there through the armpit. Now find your full breath cycle. Full exhalation. Good. We're going to take a sweeping action to come out of that. And just lay your hands on your lap and just relax and see how that feels. See if you could notice spaciousness in your shoulder girdle, this whole shoulder carriage, if you want to call it that. You just notice that differently because of that efforting and that intention in the armpit area. Let's move through the spine now. I want you to keep your hands on your lap on purpose, just so we really keep the focus in the spinal column and that our arms don't throw us off. I've just seen too many people in my practices lately where they're pulling themselves forward, and that's not the intention. I want you to keep your shoulders in line with your hips. So let's keep our hands on our lap. Just pull the shoulder blades toward each other by maybe squeezing your elbows toward the waist or toward the back. And you're feeling the extension of the spine of the cow pose. I'm going to get the block. Let's grab the block. That'll help us. We won't even have to hardly think about our legs because the block will just keep us true to that. So pulling the elbows back, squeezing, feeling the extension of the spine. It's an arch of the back. We're just training the body now before we start moving through a vinyasa. And then when you're ready, rounding through the back body, pull the belly button in, let your chin drop towards your chest and feel roundness, a dome shape, a C-shaped curve, however you experience that. It's just the opposite movement of what you had just done. A counter pose. This is our cat. It's like an angry cat. So inhaling up, exhaling, rounding. Find your rhythm of breathing. Full inhalation, full exhalation, and really notice what you notice. You're noticing your body today, how this feels. Give yourself time, repetition, time. Is sometimes we'll think, oh gosh, this feels hard today. And usually this is so easier. I just really used to like this. And today I don't like it so much. So just be patient with yourself. We're just feeling what we're feeling, noticing, staying true to it, knowing it's benefiting you. You know that for sure. And then just really go back to the breath. You can trust that. I'm going to take a full inhale. I'm going to take a full exhalation. That much I know. I can trust that Guru Dev. Last time. And let's come into a mountain pose. So our arms are going to come alongside the chair's frame. Turn your palms forward. Notice where your shoulder blades are. Isn't that great? We came into it kind of by way of the cow extension of the spine, that cow pose. And now the shoulder blades are much better situated on the back body. Let's start the body awareness, or like a body scan. Push your feet to the floor. I want you to feel your toes as well as the whole surface of your feet, some way, somehow. Feel your ankles. Notice how your ankles are involved when you press your feet to the floor. Sure enough, that takes some ankle action. Moving your awareness up through the shins and calves and into your knees. You're squeezing the block so you can feel that action. And this is so strong and stable. I mean, it's just so ideal in terms of alignment. Stay with that. Just notice the lower body is just perfectly aligned, strong and stable. To help you sit up tall, lengthen your spine. Head, neck, and spine in alignment. We're going to create a T shape with our arms. So the thumb is pointing back. We're really rotating the arms so that we're bringing palms up. Thumb pointing directly behind you. That's not easy. That takes rotating of the arms. I've seen it too often that people just about lay here and that's it. That feels like they're doing it. As far as they're concerned, that's it, isn't it? It's like, no, there's quite a rotation available if you can just kind of bring more awareness into that. Open the palms. Maybe you use different language in your own experience of it. Just talk your way through it. Talk your way through it. Spread your fingers apart, stretch your palms, press your feet to the floor, because doesn't it help? All of a sudden, you've got help for your extended arms because you've got your legs involved. Good. We're going to make a cactus now. So palms face forward, elbows are bent. Let's pull back a little bit so we can feel a little more arching of the backs, like we're going to introduce a little cow into that. This is an open position, and it's an inhale. And exhale, close, shoulder blades spread apart. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Everything comes together. Find your own rhythm because you want to give yourself your full breath cycle. It might be slower than what you see me do. It might be quicker. I'm not sure. So you're following your rhythm. Soften your neck. Just see if you can give it one layer of softness. Opening and closing. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's hold with our arms together. Our palms and forearms are together. Lift your elbows up as much as they'll go. There'll be a stop sign and we're going to go right to it and breathe in and breathe out and feel what you're feeling. Bring your awareness right into the body where there's a lot of feedback. See if you can exhale better. When we feel intensity, that's when we start chopping up the breath. So feel your way through that intensity by exhaling it all the way out. Good, we're going to open up now. And I'm going to call this like a scarecrow. So elbows are lifting up, palms are reaching down, fingertips reaching down. Now see if you can align your spine, lift and lengthen through the spine. Get your head in alignment with the spine while you hold your arms in this goofy little scarecrow position. So we're just using different muscle groups. Keep your elbows and upper arms elevated. Let's deepen the breath back to that exhale. We can always go there. And watch what the exhale does to your body and does to your mind, how all of a sudden the fussiness, the frustration, or the resistance of the mind settles down, quiets down a bit, because you just give it a long exhalation. Good, and then let's release the arms. Oh man, they got heavy. And then just reset your body. So whatever your body seems to need after that, maybe you need to move your head around because your neck got a little cranked up. Good, let's come back to our neutral position. Our our mountain pose. Let's extend that right arm out, lift up. Just start moving it from an extended, like a T shape, up to straight on up. Next time it's reaching up, lift up, keep lifting up, step your feet to the floor a little more, and then imagine you're tying a sandbag onto that other arm, other hand, so that you feel a split. One arm is reaching up and trying real hard to come away from the body, away from the ground would be probably a better way to understand it. And the other hand is trying to get closer to the ground. It's like you're trying to heavy up on that side of the body, reaching down and feeling your body trying to deal with it, splits your body right to left, left to right. And that's okay. We're just noticing that we can handle that. Our body has kind of got two things going on at the same time. It's like a pull and a push. Let's take a big circular action to come down. I'm going to have you do another circle. Take a little pause, any resetting your body might need. Then the other arm, palm up. I'm just going to move it a little bit from kind of that T extension to reaching up close to the ears, straight elbow, no bend. Lift up and hold, same thing over here. Squeeze your block just for good measure. Get your lower body engaged so you don't forget that experience. Lifting up, your arm is reaching up through using the strength of your armpit muscles to lift that arm up, and then tie that imaginary sandbag on your other arm, other wrist, however you feel like that would be, so that one arm is reaching up away from the ground and the other one is trying to find the ground. It's trying to get heavy to stretch down towards the ground. Again, so it's a pull and a push. It's a split through the body. The right side, left side are doing different things. And we're breathing through it all, breathing all the way in, all the way out. Let's get both hands together overhead. Inhale with me here. Exhale, bow into your heart. This is that Namo, bowing in to the Guru Dev. Inhale up and exhale, go all the way around. Good. We're going to use the block in a moment. I'm tucking it under the chair for now. Let's begin a pull and push with the legs. So start by just lifting up. Let's just warm up the legs, get some movement through that crease, where the legs meet the hips. We got to loosen that up. Those tendons in there get kind of stiff and sticky. So let's start moving. Try to keep your spine long. So holding on to the chair for leverage is a great idea. That's why I like the chair. One of the many reasons I like the chair. Let's start with our left leg. So we're going to lift up and interlace our fingers around that shin and pull the thigh right into you. Let's spin that foot around while we've got it in the air and just resituate so you feel like you've got a good grip, pulling in. Spine is long, elbows are close to the side body. So you feel the length of your spine. It feels like you're still in a mountain pose in terms of your spine. We can stop the movement of the foot because now we're going to create a little pull and a push. Now that requires a little leaning back. Stick that standing leg out, press through the sole of the foot, press particularly through the heel. So you feel this pull on your left side and a push on your other side. So the right side pushing away from you while your other side is pulling in toward the belly. Find that breath again. Could be louder, could be different. Remember that Ujjayi breath where it sounds like the ocean sound is often called. It's deep in the throat. That shows up when we're really efforting. So just honor it, use it, claim it. Pull and push. Let's get our standing leg back in place. We're going to rotate that bent knee over to the side. And then I think you probably need to scoot yourself over in the chair so you're more on the edge. Centered isn't going to work quite as well. Let's extend that leg long, heel down, toes up. So pretty much you've created a right angle between your thighs. Square yourself so you're still facing forward. You didn't follow that leg. Sometimes we pull the leg over and all of a sudden we're facing it. I want you to continue to face straight ahead. You just externally rotate it here. Drop your toes and bring them back up. We're just rolling through the bones in this that connect to the hip socket. You know, that femur bone is moving. That's pretty much what's happening here. And then just bring your foot to the floor where it feels like it's comfortable. So it doesn't have to be at any particular angle. Where can you feel purchase, where you can feel the connection? It feels useful. It feels like you're not floating. It feels somewhat grounded. Wherever it lands, don't be fussy about the particular angle. Something that's friendly to your ankle. Let's call it that. Here's where we're going to get the block. We're going to use that high side of the block and put it on the other side of us, so that you can touch it. Let's practice that, keeping this leg extended, no bend in the knee. The foot is down, and I'm using my chair to kind of help me make sure I can touch over onto that block. Let's look at the block, look at the hand that's touching the block, and bring your other hand to your waistline. And it's now you're turning your head so that your ear is facing the hand that's touching the block. Your ear is facing the block, facing the hand that's touching the block, that way. Let's extend that arm, that top arm, past your head. So you feel that long line, long extended leg, long extended arm, and feel it in your body. Just feel what this does. Here you've created this shape. Now we're going to breathe. Try not to put a whole bunch of weight into the hand on the block. I started out that way. I was really leaning into it. But I find that I can lift away from that. I can use my strength to lift away from the hand on the block. And that's just, I like it better. It feels stronger. It feels more in line with what I'm trying to accomplish in my body, strengthening, finding some flexibility. And then it's friendlier on my wrist. So if you can find that you're not really leaning so much into the hand on the block, I think you'll like it better. Let's deepen the breath now, where we feel the exhalation complete itself every time we breathe. Beautiful. Let's just bring ourselves up, use that top arm, use your chair, however you need to. Let's do some resetting of the shoulder, moving the head and neck. And then we'll come back around, sit yourself, square yourself away. And then we're gonna hug in the other side. Well, might as well move the block, right? That block is going to be needed over there. So let's pull in, spin the foot around, deepen the breath. A good time to catch up with your breathing in case you kind of lost it a little bit. So deepen your breath, get as noisy as you might need to so you feel all caught up, pulling in. Nice long spine, elbows are squeezing into the body. And then let's push out. So there's a little bit of a lean back as we straighten out that standing leg, push through the sole of the foot. Feel the pull and the push in the body, right side, left side, doing two different things, all at the same time, easy enough. We breathe through it all, pulling and pushing. Exhale completely. Yeah. We're going to get that standing leg back to the floor. We're going to rotate that leg out. This is where we kind of scoot over to the edge and extend it long with no bend in the knee, creating a right angle between your legs as best as you can and facing forward. So shoulders and hips are in alignment and you're squarely facing forward. Let's start by just dropping the foot down so the toes drop down and then they pop up. We're rotating around in that hip socket. Hold your body any way that feels comfortable. Maybe you've got your hands on your waist. Maybe you really appreciate the chair here. Whatever feels steady, comfortable, and allows you to breathe through and pay attention to the experience you have, the simple movement. Exhale completely. Let's get back to the deepening of the breath where we can feel the exhalation take care of itself all the way out. press that foot down, find your purchase, feel where that feels good in your ankle and you don't feel like you're floating, but your foot feels connected to the ground. And then you're going to find your block. So take your time to square yourself away. The shoulders are in an alignment here. You're just tilting that shoulder carriage so that you can put your hand on the block. See, this one feels different for me. I feel like it's, I wish I had a taller block. So I've got to really work on that, leaning a little lower, letting my body adjust to that. Shoulders are in alignment. Feeling the connection of both feet to the ground. And then the top arm reaches past the ear. So how your head is tilted, one ear is facing the hand on the block, and the other arm is coming right past the top ear. So it's just a great way to keep your head, neck, and spine in alignment. It's like you've created a little framework around that, and it's very stabilizing. So in some manner, you can feel your feet connected. Maybe it's a lighter touch on that extended leg, maybe not. Let's deepen the breath and see if we can let go of quite so much weight laying into our hands. See if we can hold it with the strength of our body instead of leaning down into that hand. Can you bring the strength of the body? It's like your rib cage is going to lift up and away from the floor to support your body strength, your body weight, much more so than this arm and your hand on the block. Let's deepen that breath. Full breath in and out. Notice your shoulder blades. Can you feel your armpit working for you? Exhale it out. Let's take that top arm and help it get us out. We'll use our chair, use our legs, and then we're going to bring ourselves back to center and open up into a wide angle. I like to use the legs of my chair. I go at least that wide, most of the time a little wider. And then we're going to circle that out. That's a good reset. So we're going to just start doing that Sufi roll, finding the fluid nature of our body back again, just fluid, easy, softening, loosening. Head, neck, and spine are in alignment. So you're not letting your head roll around. It's staying very stable. The movement is felt right in the depth of the pelvic bowl. All those muscles that are inside the pelvis now are getting your loving awareness. Next time you're in the middle, let's try that pelvic lift. I want you to really stabilize your hands on the fleshy part of your thighs. Your back body is in a diagonal line. So pull your chin in towards your throat a little bit. Maybe find a drishti. And I want you to imagine that you're lifting yourself, hovering above the chair. It's really just the perineum that's going to lift. Lift and hold, breathe it out, and then soften back to where you're just sitting. And then just do a few movements like that, where you're just coming in and out, lifting the pelvic floor off of the chair, and then you settle back in. Just think of it as just a layer. You're not trying to lift your whole body weight. You're pressing your feet to the floor, maybe really pressing your hands to your thighs as you lift up through the perineum, through the floor of your pelvis, to tone that, to keep that toned, to support the organs that reside in your pelvis. Let's just do a few more repetitions at your own pace. Remember, you need a full exhalation. Very nice. Now say strong. And let's see if we can hold this diagonal line. One arm is going to reach past our ears. We've got our diagonal line of the body. If that's pretty doable, see if you can add the other arm. And if not, just alternate arms. You'll do it for a while with one arm extended past your ear, and then you'll take turns. If you can do both arms, that's great. Press your feet. Feel the strength of your whole leg. Feel the strength of your buttocks. And deepen the breath. Feet to the floor, strong legs, strong connection through all of the leg, right on into the pelvic floor, into the buttocks. One hand at a time comes back to the thighs. And we'll come back upright and reset the body. Move around to reset the body. Good. Let's get our legs back to center. So back to our mountain type position, just that basic pose. And we're going to lift ourselves out of the chair. So just pay attention to your movement. Maybe it's a good time again to take a big cleansing breath. And that's where we'll meet, standing up, mountain pose. I'm going to suggest you get your block between your calves and shins. It's just like a good way to fine tune your pose a little bit. It keeps you honest, keeps you really engaged properly. Pull the belly in through the belly button area, pull in and up, in and up. Let's take a moment with eyes closed to just settle here, just feel our body in its entirety. Maybe you do full body breathing where you're just moving that breath from the soles of the feet up through the front body, all the way to the crown of the head. You let that exhale descend down your back body. All of this is your intention and your imagination of full body breathing, what that would be like, what it would look like and feel like. For sure, it gives you a deepening of the breath and a better experience, a better connection of the mind to the body. So there's a big payoff no matter what. If you feel something squeezing, like, ooh, that doesn't, in our attempt to be strong, that all of a sudden we're clenching, soften that clenching. Soften that clench. Back to a full body experience of your own breath. Again, what we're doing is connecting to the Guru Dev. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Honoring, bowing to the Guru inside us, the Dev, the divine Guru. Namo. Let's flutter the eyes open. Inhale, palms come together overhead. Exhale, bow into your heart. Inhale up and exhale. Let's go all the way around. I think the block might be finished for the day, so you might put it off to the side. We're going to start right away by getting a foot up on the chair. So I'm going to suggest you have your standing leg near the chair, near the back of the chair, I guess, and then your other leg is on top of that. So you got a bent knee there. So let's start by pulsing forward. So you're using the chair for support. Hand on the chair keeps you steady, but just hiking your leg up this high, you're into your hip, you're into your buttocks here, just by getting your foot this high up to put onto the chair. So that might be a modification. If this is too high, this isn't something you could do. Maybe you just keep your foot on the floor and you're just doing the pulsing that way. Maybe there's a footstool or some kind of, maybe your block even might help, that you put your foot on there so it's a little bit higher up, but it's not quite so challenging as putting it all the way up on the chair. Let's start the pulsing. Your hips and shoulders are square. Now let's find a drishti that's out there. So you're not looking down at your foot. You're not looking at what you're doing here. You're going to feel your way through it. You should pulse forward and back. And I want you to feel it as the pelvis. The pelvis takes your leg forward. The pelvis bends your knee. It feels like as your pelvis comes forward, you can't help but bend your knee. So it's like, it's all about the motor that's running in the pelvis. Pelvis acts as a single unit. It's not right side or left side. It's just pushing forward and back. This is nice to get a deeper bend in the knee. Some people have a real restriction in how much their knee will fold, or what do you call that? I'm just missing the word flex, the full flexion. So this will be a kind of a way to practice that, if that's a limitation you might experience. And then come back up so it feels just like you're in this right angle. There's no forward movement. It feels pretty neutral. Let's get both hands on the thigh. Steady yourself as a balancing now. It's just as a balancing. I want you to really press your hands into your thigh, find your drishti, feel the strength of your standing leg all the way through. So your whole awareness now is the standing leg. You're lifting up and away from that. So you're real tall and strong. Shoulders are back and down. Strong, strengthening position for your standing leg. Let's get a hand back to the chair so we got a little more support. Now the pelvis is going to pull back. Might not be as much pulsing. So it's pulling back. Then there's a stop sign. So there's no more forward movement. You're not trying to flex your knee. You're trying to pull your pelvis back. You might be able to pull it back so you feel a real straightening of that top leg. Keep your drishti in mind. You're staring at something, that's going to help you keep your focus. You don't need to look at the screen. Pay attention to what you're doing. Deepen the breath. Pelvis is moving back and then neutral. It goes from neutral to pulling back. One more. Pull back. And then again, you're in your neutral position, sort of a right angle. Everything feels pretty neutral. Both hands on your thigh. Shoulders are back and down. Here's where we're going to use those armpits again. See if you're able to frame your head by grabbing hold of those elbows, framing your head, and pulling back with your arms by way of your armpits. A little back bend. Find the drishti. Let that foot that's on the chair be as much a source of grounding as the standing leg. See if you can use that foot that's on the chair to give you more stability and sense that you're grounded. As you let your shoulders move because of this awareness through the armpits. Let your head do as your head does. Don't try to make it do anything. Just see what feels natural. Go with that. Excellent. Let's get our arms back down and we'll get our foot back on the floor. And I want you to shake that out. I don't know about you, but I got to move side to side here. So just listen to your body. See what feels right for you. When you're ready, let's set up for the other side. Foot to the chair seat. Square your hips, square your shoulders. Make sure you feel like your body weight is well supported. You got your hand on the back of the chair. Find a drishti that's kind of out and away rather than down. So you don't need to look at the screen and you don't need to look at your feet or anything like that. Let's pulse forward now into that flex position, really flexing the knee as the pelvis moves forward and back. It's all about the pelvis coming forward and back. And then we're feeling that experience in the body various ways. You can feel it in your ankles, for sure in the knee. Lift, lengthen the spine. Holding your hands any way you want to. If you don't need the stability of holding onto the chair, don't use it. Maybe you've got something else in mind. Find the smoothness and the rhythm of your breathing. Remember to exhale completely. Can't go wrong when you add that full exhalation. Well, have we done the same amount of pulsations here on this side? Let's bring ourselves to neutral now. Both hands are going to be on the thigh, the top thigh. We're pressing into that thigh and we're just finding the strength, kind of pausing here, standing tall as we strengthen that standing leg. So that standing leg is where our full awareness is. Our body weight is primarily held there. So we're strengthening the bone mass of that standing leg. As we breathe in and out, stand tall, steady and tall. Exhale completely. Let's get a hand back on the chair. Now the pelvis is going to pull back. So no more pulsing forward. This time the pelvis pulls back away from the chair. Find that steady gaze. You still feel real strong and purposeful about the way you're holding your upper body. Feels like it's in a mountain pose. But there's no clenching, there's ease there. We can find ease just because we've really patterned the body. So it feels natural to us now to be standing tall and straight, stable. Follow the lead of what you're pulling the pelvis back means to that bent knee. Maybe you can straighten it a little more. It feels like your leg is almost straight. That's possible. And again, we come back to neutral. So there's just this right angle of that leg that's up on the chair. Let's start by stabilizing. Get both hands on the thigh. Pull the belly in. Let's get a lot of core strength. And we're going to hold on to our elbows and frame our head there. Get your elbows up, framing your head. Pull back through the armpits. Let your head move as your head wants to move. So it's just this natural positioning of the head and neck. And you're just stabilizing it all by pulling back through the armpits, feeling the strength of your legs, the fullness of your breath. Really into this awareness of the shoulder carriage into the armpit area. Exhale completely, and then come back to neutral. Take your time, move slow, get your feet back to the floor, and let's shake that out. We can do our downward dog from here. So I'm just turning the chair. You wouldn't need to necessarily. Palms are at the chair seat, and we're going to come back and stretch that out. Make sure your feet are parallel to each other. And let's lengthen through the spine. Again, our arms close to the ears as we can. I like to give the direction that your hands, the distance between your hands and the distance between your feet are the same. So you try to match that up. Feel your body weight pulling back towards your heels, towards your calves. Pull back, tuck your chin in towards your throat. Let's deepen the breath. Can you feel your armpit strength? Can you feel how your shoulder carriage is a little more open? Deepen the breath. Notice what you notice. Full breath in, full breath out. That's good yoga, each and every time. Let's come forward now, and we're in our tabletop position. So our arms, our table legs, our back body is the tabletop. I want you to extend one leg back and round the back body as you draw your knees towards your face. Extend it into sort of neutral extension. This is like doing a cow pose and a cat pose in the whole body. Extending the leg back, rounding through the back body where your head comes towards your knee, and then extend it, kind of open it up. Let's do two more on this side. Both feet to the floor. Maybe you need to do a reset. Maybe there's some movement your body needs to reset the body. Pay attention to what your neck needs. Let's deepen the breath. Catch up with your breath. Position yourself in tabletop. Extend the other leg. Round through the back body. Bringing your knees towards your face. I often say knee to nose. Find your smoothness and rhythm of breath. And both feet to the floor. I want you to take a bigger step, a wider step, I should say, wider stance, and see if you can do a few squats. So you're just dropping your hips down a little bit, hold on to the chair, manage the weight of your head. So however you're moving, you're paying attention to how your neck is responding. Breathing, moving. So it's not real rigid, it feels fluid, and you're just trying it. Breathing to stretch into those thighs, into the hips. Excellent. Let's come back up, all the way up, and find our mountain. Let's deepen the breath. Let your body settle. Start with a drishti that's real low to the ground. So your eyes are not closed, but your eyelids are very low. You've lowered your eyelids because you're looking at something that's very low to the ground. Let this be the start of our transition now to the relaxation part of our practice. So we're still in an upright, strong mountain pose, yet we lowered the eyelids and we're bringing our awareness to our body as it starts to settle. It settles in with a slower breath. Let's use a mantra right here, right now, to keep our mind and body connected, to give your mind still something to do so that you're fully engaged in the present moment. So let's breathe in deep and breathe out slow. You want your breath to feel the deep and slow nature of this settling. Settling. Deep and slow. Deep and slow. Remember, you want a micro bend of the knees. Don't straighten your knees and lock them in. That's not a settling and it's not stable. So get a micro bend in the knees. Go back to just settling, knowing that our intention here is to transition into relaxation. And we're doing that standing up for this full body experience of our breath, more so than in the chair. It seems like it's a different full body experience when you're standing and when you're sitting, they're just different. Deep and slow, and we're settling into the strong body, strong and stable body. Really experiencing now that core promise, that core intention of yoga practices, and that is creating a vibrant and healthy body. What we've done today, maybe a little bit more so, a little more awareness to, is also focused and alert mind. The focused and alert mind and the vibrant and healthy body is where we are right now. Exhale completely. Inhale deep. Exhale slow. So you're literally using the words as a mantra and feeling how your breath responds. Excellent. Let's get ourselves now back to our chair. We're going to sit down and sit back into the chair so that we can utilize the backrest. So you're scooting yourself back and allowing yourself now to lean into the backrest. Let your legs come to a place where they feel the most comfortable. So if you're trying to, create that sort of mountain structure, you're trying to keep legs in a particular way, let's let that go. Just sit down and let your legs be where they want to be. And let your back feel the chair's backrest, or perhaps you like to have a blanket on the back of your chair or a pillow in your low back area. So whatever, maybe any props you might find beneficial, this is your time to access those. So you're really in a position where you're taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your needs. Feel the belly rise and fall. Inhale, belly rise. Exhale, belly falls. Inhale, belly rise. Hold that inhale. Exhale, belly falls. So just add that little pause. Inhale, belly rise, hold it, and exhale, belly falls. Keeping our alert and focused mind, keeping us here and now as our body relaxes and settles. Inhale, belly rise, hold, exhale, belly falls. Feel the release that that exhalation gives you, the release in your body tissue. And then allow your breath to be as your breath is, where you're no longer trying to manipulate it. You're going to trust your breath's natural rhythm of movement, and you're going to relax into that. And you are going to be in a state of pure awareness. Sometimes it's called just being, not doing, but purely being. As you let your breath be as your breath is, completely supported by this chair and by the space you're in, the safety, stability of the place you're in. Let your breath be as your breath is. You're in a state of pure awareness or being. And there's where we encounter this lightness of being and the loving and compassionate heart that is allowing us to be here and be held here. Sense of lightness of being and loving and compassionate heart. If you find your hands wandering to lay onto your chest bone into that heart center of the chakra system, that would make sense to me too. So allow yourself to find what you need to connect to this state, lightness of being, and the kind and compassion of your heart. My poem from Danna Faulds' book, Go In and In, is breath. Breath, the mindful breath, the rhythm out and in, the wave that washes through our days, creating space for stillness, sorrow, joy, or exaltation. Full, then empty, ebb and flow. Breath accompanies each step into the unknown. In the breath, the soul finds an opportunity to speak. Images or intuition, poetry, or wordless wisdom come and go. No effort but to breathe and listen. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose now. Exhale it out of the mouth like a sigh. Ah. Do 2 more breaths like that. Feels like a cleansing breath. Maybe your eyes stay closed. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling with a big sigh out of the mouth. Flutter the eyes open, come forward a little bit on your chair, or sit in such a way that you're able again to find the length of your spine. It feels like you're very well back to an alignment within your body. Let's sync up our breath from there. Inhale up, palms come together overhead. Exhale, bow into your heart. Let's take a pause there. This is the Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Inhale back up, palms are overhead. Exhale, let's share this beautiful, peaceful energy with our communities. Thank you so much for joining me. Palms come together at the heart. We bow to each other. We bow to ourselves. Namaste.
Namaste.